Joining me now is Democratic Representative from California, Congressman Khanna. Congressman, thank you for being here. You see the paddles, they did not go over well. They've been mocked.
Have one.
You did not have one. Why was that the tactic? Do you know, was that planned? Why?
Well, look, I am actually in agreement with Senator Fetterman that there has to be some decorum to the chamber. I mean, maybe it's because I was born in Pennsylvania, grew up in Pennsylvania. Most people, they're decent, they're patriotic, they expect you to listen. And we could have stood when we did, I did when the president came in. You don't have to applaud when you disagree with him. Stand for the 13-year-old boy who has cancer. And then go out and tell the facts, which is that he's not telling the truth on Social Security. I mean, there is not this 20 million people of fraud. He's cutting Medicaid. He's having mass firing of veterans. I mean, 80,000 people possibly being laid off at the Veterans Affairs. That's what we need to be emphasizing. Instead of Colbert making fun of that, now he's making fun of Democrats.
And by the way, I mean, Trump at one point baited Democrats or challenged by saying, no matter what I do, I'm paraphrasing him, you won't stand for anything. To the points you raised, why was there not more unanimity about, well, things that had common ground?
Well, the day before, I actually was the only Democrat who went to First Lady Trump's roundtable because I supported the Take It Down Act. Now, what is the Take It Down Act? It is saying that if you have sexually explicit AI-generated images of young people, the social media companies need to take it down. That's common sense. It passed the Senate 100-0. Why shouldn't Democrats support some things we agree on and then oppose these mass firings, oppose the Medicaid cuts, oppose blanket tariffs that are causing harm in the economy? The case we ought to be making against President Trump is it's chaos. It's governance by chaos. Well, we've got to be the responsible party to be able to make that.
Well, one of the things that Congressman Al Green did was stand up. He was saying something to the effect of, you don't have a mandate to cut Medicaid. He was escorted out eventually. He's now facing censure. Republicans in the past have, at different addresses by a president, including President Barack Obama, they have lashed out. Is this fair to treat him with censure, or was he also wrong?
I don't think he should be censored. And look, he's a 77-year-old African-American gentleman who has seen civil rights. I'm not going to tell Al Green what he should do or should not do. But what I will say is that, in my view, we have to uphold the decorum, whether it's a Democratic or Republican president. I didn't like it when Republicans heckled President Obama. And I don't think it's effective to be heckling Donald Trump. I mean, is next time we have a Democratic president, which we will, are we going to say that the Republicans aren't going to listen? I just think we can be better than that as a country.
The decorum that is absent, perhaps in some arenas, is also seemingly absent in places like, well, committee hearings. You were actually at the House Oversight hearing today with 4 liberal city mayors, and there was a lot of heated moments, but especially between Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley and also Chairman Comer. Listen to this.
Data from Texas shows that U.S.-born Americans commit more rape and murder than immigrants.
Listen, this trend of you all trying to get thrown out of committee so you can get on MSNBC is going to end. We're not going to put up with it.
This is my procedural
Mr.
right as a member of this committee
you can go with Mr. Frost and Mr. Green.
I am reclaiming my time.
That's what you want. No. Ms. Presley, I have been very accommodating to you. Mr. Superjohn, start the clock.
Umbrage as a survivor of sexual violence. I will enter into the record. This is my right.
By the way, after about 6 hours, this hearing wrapped, and Comer said this was the best behaved the Oversight Committee had been. Can the committee get anything done? There are actually serious matters. The idea that one could speak up and be accused of just looking for a soundbite and clickbait, that seems to be a theme.
Well, look, Representative Pressley is not one to be sensational. She's actually very, very substantive. She was just trying to enter something into the record there. I think she had the procedural right. I think Chairman Comer should have just said, okay, we'll enter it into the record and let's focus on the issues. But, this is why people laugh at Congress. They look at this and they say, this is not how a kindergarten class behaves. This is not how high school behaves. And it's a demerit on all of us. And so my view is let's argue the issues. There are plenty of places that Donald Trump is failing the working and middle class. But let's be the bigger party. I actually still agree. I'm one of the few people who still agrees with Michelle Obama when she said, when they go low, we go high. And you know where that comes from? It doesn't come from weakness. It comes from Dr. King. It comes from John Lewis. It comes from a history of oppression. When the stack is against you, you show your inner strength and you rise above and you inspire. That's what I want the Democratic Party to do.
Is it still politically effective?
I think so. I mean, look, I would argue that Dr. King and John Lewis faced much worse odds. They faced a much tougher America, and they had far fewer resources. But they knew that if they had the higher ground, that people would respond to it. And I'm not saying we have to be saints like they were. I'm saying that we can punch back on the issues, but let's carry ourselves with a decorum and a respect. And you look at John F. Kennedy, you look at Barack Obama, those are the type of Democrats who end up inspiring the nation.
We shall see. Congressman, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.